I'm Diana Dove.
And on our last show, we did a couple of stories that were going on in the press, really tragic stories that were going on in the press, and we just wanted to do a couple of updates for you all. One of the updates we did, I made a comment that one of the gentlemen that was found in Piedmont Park here in Atlanta, they said it was suicide, and I made a comment that who commits suicide in a public park? So I stand corrected. The authorities have confirmed that it was indeed a suicide. And the gentleman who committed suicide, his name was Michael George Smith Jr. And Mr. Smith apparently committed suicide because he was gay shamed by his own family. He left a note, not left a note, on his Facebook page. He made a statement that he was pretty much, done with this life, and because of him being gay shamed, and that's apparently why he committed suicide.
Well, I definitely first want to give condolences out to his family.
Yes.
That is definitely a tragic event when anyone feels like they can't live their life or live this life, live a life.
Yes.
I think that that's very disheartening just altogether.
Yes.
And so I definitely want to extend condolences out to his family as they go through this very, very tough time.
Yes.
And I know that we had stated also too on our last show that the KKK, they were spotted in or around that area, Piedmont Park, around that time. So as we can see, it was a suicide, and it wasn't the KKK. They weren't involved in this incident at all.
Yes, yes. So once again, the young man's name was Michael George Smith Jr. He was 22 years old. And on social media, his alias was London Jermaine. And on July 7th, 2016, at 4:05 a.m., he wrote on Facebook, "I see y'all in the next life. Dead ass father, forgive me." So apparently his parents both, I guess, did not approve of him being gay. And he just felt that he could not take that anymore, and that's why he decided to commit suicide. At 4:30 a.m., a Piedmont Park security officer, Charles Butler, discovered his body hanging from a tree at the Charles Allen entrance in Piedmont Park. He apparently used a white rope to tie to the branch of a tree, and he tied the other end to his neck, and he hung himself. And it was right near the Nelson Mandela Monument. And like Donna said, it happened the same week that we had some other tragic events with Philando Castile and Alton Sterling in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So with those two things happening, I guess the public felt that it may have been something other than suicide. And Atlanta Mayor Kasim Reed made a statement that his name was not being revealed because they had not contacted his family, and that the FBI were going to get down to the bottom of it to find out for sure what happened. And once again, it was confirmed that it was a suicide. So we do send our condolences to Mr. Smith's family. And we really hope that if there are any other youth out there who are gay, male or female, and they feel, that they can't, that they're being gay shamed, we hope that you will not take this route in committing suicide. There are, organizations out there to help you, and he was such a young man to be 22 years old, and we hope that there are not other young people deciding to take that same route.
And I know, too, we thought, because it did happen the same time as all of the tragic events that took place, it just seemed like it was just one after another, that they were just kind of saying it was a suicide just to kind of brush it under the rug, right? Because it came out pretty quickly, like, oh, it was a suicide. And with all of those different events coming on and the KKK being seen in that area, you know, we definitely, just the public in general, wanted to know exactly what happened and what took place. And so, it, like you said, it was confirmed that it was a suicide. So it wasn't something that they just brushed under the rug. So there wouldn't be any other uproar about African Americans being killed. But you know, they did confirm that it was a suicide.
Yes. I mean, with that being such a touchy subject with African Americans, with our history, I can kind of understand why, you know, there was a rush to judgment, so to speak. So, you know, Mayor Kasim Reed, once again, like I said, he wanted to keep, you know, everything down. There was a march also here in Atlanta, and a lot of people were pretty much outraged. So he wanted to make sure that things didn't get out of hand. So once again, we give our condolences to that young man and Mr. Smith's family, and that's also a tragedy. But it's just so many tragedies. But you know, everything turned out. I don't know. I just really feel sad for him because there's so many young people out there who are you know, they're afraid to come out to their families and people because of the same issue, that they feel that they're going to be shamed by their family. So I just wish there was some other things that we can do. I know there's some other things that we can do in order to help these young people, you know, to better come out to their families and to their friends, and that they don't have to, you know, take that route in harming themselves. So I don't know, what do you think? Do you have anything that you think that?
Yeah, I mean, I know, you know, people have different beliefs and different opinions, but regardless of what your belief is or your opinion, no one should ever have to feel like their life isn't worthy to live. And so I know that for any topic or for any reason that someone may feel like they want to commit suicide, that there are, you know, definitely resources out there to help them, to help counsel them, or even just to talk with someone, you know, no matter what the reason may be, because there are various reasons why people may commit suicide. So, you know, I definitely just urge people that if you know someone who is thinking about that, has talked to you about it, that at that point you are involved and that you need to assist them with getting the necessary help. Yes. I'm not saying that you are the help, you know, because it definitely takes a trained specialist and someone who is educated in that area as far as counseling people and being a psychologist or a therapist. You do have to be trained for that, but you can encourage that individual, no matter what they may be going through, to get the necessary help that they need. And, you know, just to let them know that you are there for them. If they just want somebody to listen to them, that you're there to listen to, but to encourage them to get the proper assistance that they need. So I think anytime somebody may tell you that, or just even give you signs that they're thinking about committing suicide, because like you said, on his social media, he gave signs of him going to, not necessarily going to commit suicide, but those are very unsettling words that he used. And so and many times people say that people who commit suicide or experts say that when people commit suicide, they have usually provided signs to their family and their friends. And so I just urge people that when your family or your friends do show you those signs, that you recognize them, and which many people do, and they just don't take the person serious.
Yes.
But you assist them or encourage them with getting the necessary help that they may need.
Yes. And I do have the phone number to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. That number is 1-800-273-8255, and they have someone there 24 hours a day to answer the phone. So if you feel like you need someone to talk to for this matter, if you're feeling that you're being gay shamed, or any other reason that young people may decide that they have to take their own life, please just call that number. Once again, that number is 1-800-273-8255, and that is the number of the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline.
And again, that's for any particular reason.
Yes.
So
exactly.
it's not, people don't have to just call that line if they're only dealing with one
Exactly.
Topic. Is for just suicide in general.
Exactly. If you feel like you need someone to talk to, just please, before you do anything rash, just call that number. Once again, the number is 1-800-273-8255, and that is the number of the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. So we hope that that helped any young people or older people, actually, who decide that they want to maybe end their life, that you don't have to do anything rash. And there are people here, sometimes you don't believe that when you're young, that nobody cares about you, but there are people who care about you and who don't want you to do anything rash with yourself. I mean, we say all the time that the youth are our future, and that is true. That is definitely true. Even with all the marching and things that's going on, we need the youth. So please don't do anything rash. Once again, 1-800-273-8255. And this is the new. I'm Mocha.
And I'm Diana Dove.
And stay tuned. We'll be back.
One down.
Hello, and welcome back to the new. I'm Mocha.
And I'm Diana Dove. And so we have quite a bit that's going on in the sports arena now,
Yes.
Particularly with the NBA. So we just had the playoffs. They just concluded with the Cleveland Cavaliers winning the championship. So definitely congratulations to the Cavaliers. LeBron definitely, brought it back home and got his city a championship. So that is excellent. But of course, after the finals, we still have a little more shakeup with the draft and where people have kind of landed on if they're going to stay with their team or if they're going to move on to another team. And so the first one that kind of broke out in the news was Kevin Durant.
Okay.
So he was with the Oklahoma City Thunder, and he did all 9 seasons.
Okay.
All 9 seasons. So his whole career with OKC. And now he is part of the Golden State Warriors. They have his jersey, Durant, on the back of it.
All right.
For Golden State Warriors. So, we have a lot of people, some people are excited. I know Golden State fans are very excited, but I know OKC fans are not excited because he was definitely one of the main faces of that particular team. And so some people feel that he kind of is a traitor, I guess you could say, because since they feel that since his team couldn't pull through the victory or a championship with the 9 seasons that he was there, that now he's going to go over to a favored team that is favored to win a championship. Well, they've already won one, but that's favored to win a championship. So some people feel like he's a traitor in that aspect, because they feel that he should be loyal to his team. He should feel like he can lead that team to victory so that they can get a championship. So I just kind of wanted to get how you felt. That's just some things that have been going on in social media and the news. But I wanted to see, what do you think? Do you think that he should have stayed with OKC, Oklahoma City Thunder, and tried to lead that team to a championship? Or do you think he made the right decision and went with Golden State because that's a favorite team? They have dominant players on that team. They won the championship last year. They made it to the finals this year. I'm sure they'll do very well next year. What do you think? Do you think he's a traitor or not?
I don't think so. I mean, I guess when you're into sports, I guess at the end of the day, their big thing is winning championships. So they're going to be more prone to going towards where they have more of an opportunity or a chance to do that. So if that was a move for him to change teams because he wanted to win championships, then I feel that go for it. Go for it. I mean, because they want those rings, they want those champions, they want those trophies. That's what they want, you know, when they're playing sports. So I feel like he made a good decision. Okay.
Well, let me. Well, I'm glad you feel that way.
Well,
let me give my 2 cents. No, and you know what? I actually agree with you. I agree. I think at the end of the day, people forget that it is a business.
Exactly.
Of course, these gentlemen, they love to play basketball. Obviously, they wouldn't pick it as a career for their life. Right. But at the end of the day, it is a business. And he had been with that team for 9 seasons. Yeah. And so I believe that, we gave it our best shot. You know, we made headlines many seasons. Some seasons we didn't. But he gave that team 9 seasons. And at the end of the day, he wants to win a championship. Yes. Because you have many people that say, oh, well, such and such, they were a great player, but do they have a ring? Right. So at the end of the day, it's the ring that matters. It's definitely what you bring to the table. It's definitely what you bring to the court. But people will always say, well, how many rings do they have? That's the final question. Exactly. Well, how many rings do they have? How many rings do Michael Jordan have? How many rings do Kobe have? How many rings does D. Wade have? Right? So I think that as a NBA player, as any player, and just in general, you have to do what you feel is the best for you. And I know that he stated that he felt really comfortable with Golden State and the players on that team, that it was a good feeling. And I think that's very important. And we don't know what may have been going on with Oklahoma and his teammates. We're not 100% sure. So it could have been, maybe they didn't get along, or who knows. But I think at the end of the day, you have to do what's best for you. And if he thought that it was best for him to go to a winning team so he can win a championship, I applaud him. And I wish him definitely all the best. Golden State now is even more of a powerhouse. They were definitely a powerhouse to begin with. But now with Kevin Durant, I mean, it's going to be very, very interesting to see what they do in this upcoming season. And really, that game between them and the Cavaliers, that's going to be huge, because now it's not only the same team that played in the finals, but you added in Kevin Durant now, as if those were the 2 teams that were playing in the finals. So I'm looking forward to it. I think if he felt that was the best decision he needed to make for himself and his career, I think that it was a good decision. I mean, people do it all the time. And LeBron, he did it. And there were other players that has done it. But I just think people truly forget that at the end of the day, it is a business. It is a business. And so along with that business comes people wanting to win championships. Not only their own pride, but along with a business mindset, they want to win championships.
Yes.
And if that's the move that he needed to make and to get closer to that ring, by all means, make that move.
Yes.
So I definitely agree with you.
Exactly. So how much do you think winning championships has to do with the coaches? I mean, we talk about the players all the time, but I know the coaches play a big part, because I know coaches sometimes have been actually fired from teams because if they were not winning championships. So how much do you think that the coaches play in this?
I think the coaches definitely play a role, because if you don't have a good relationship with your coach, it's going to make it harder for you to focus when you're on the court. It's going to make it harder for you to do what they ask you to do.
Yeah.
And so you can't have, let's say, half of the team doing what they want to do and then the other half of the team listening to the coach.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, there are 5 people on the court. And many winning teams, not all, but many winning teams, they utilize all the players on the court in order to get a championship. And so, of course, you always have your key players or your players that are stars per se, but it does take a team. And even if you're not that star, you definitely are a role player. I mean, somebody has to feed you the ball. Somebody has to play defense if we're talking about basketball. Somebody has to get rebounds. One person can't do it all.
Exactly.
And so I think the coach does play a role. I think the assistant coaches play a role. Of course, when you have that harmony on your team and that chemistry with your coaches, the assistant coaches, as well as your players, I think you are set up for success.
Yes.
Not saying you can't win with coaches that you may not get along with, or with, I guess you can say, okay type coaches. But you definitely can win. I just think that when everyone is on the same page, you have a cohesive unit, that you have the foundation for success.
Yes.
So I do think the coaches play a role.
Okay.
And clearly, by the amount of money that they get paid, they play a vital role. In the NBA or other sports teams as well. So to the public, they also play a good role, or to the different franchises, they are a huge role player.
Yeah.
But so Kevin Durant wasn't the only one that kind of shook things up. We also have Dwayne Wade.
Oh, yeah.
He shook things up, and so he went back to his hometown, Chicago, and the Bulls.
All right.
And he has played for Miami his entire NBA career. He definitely made headlines with that team. He's made history with that team by them winning championships. So I think that's another one that kind of shook the game up a little bit, because now he went to the Chicago Bulls, and so, Miami may not be on the map like that, because Dwayne Wade, along with, for the amount of time that he played for them, which was 13 seasons, he was one of the main faces of that team.
Okay.
So, of course, along with his other teammates as well, but he consistently was one of the main faces for that team. So he's going back home to Chicago, which to me, I think that's a great thing, because it's different when you play in front of your family and your friends compared to people you don't know. And granted, I'm sure the fans of Miami were wonderful. But I know myself, when I played in high school, playing at home just felt so much better and different from our away games. So, good decision. It will be interesting to see how people match him up with Michael Jordan.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Because that's the
there's
obvious
gonna be
trend.
A lot of pressure on him from the fans to duplicate what Michael Jordan has done for the Bulls in Chicago.
I think there will be pressure, just simply off the fact that he's playing for the same team that Michael Jordan played for. I just think, just off of that fact alone, there will be pressure. Now, he already has pressure just because he is a key player in the NBA. So I think he already has pressure to begin with, but by him going to the Chicago Bulls and the history that they have made, especially with Michael Jordan, I think that will add a little more pressure for him.
Okay, that's gonna be that's a huge weather change for him going from Miami to Chicago.
That's true.
Now he's gonna have to get used to that again.
But he's a native though.
Exactly.
He's a native in
he's
Chicago.
He's been walking around with his little flip flops on for all this time. Now he's got to go back to putting on those heavy coats and all that.
Right.
So that's gonna be a big change in itself, going down in the Windy City. So that's going to be interesting. But I know there's going to be a lot of pressure. People are going to be comparing him to Michael Jordan.
Absolutely.
And those are some huge shoes to fill.
Right.
No pun intended.
Right. And we did have another shakeup was Dwight Howard. He's coming back home to Atlanta. So we know that he played for Orlando Magic. He's played for the LA Lakers. He's played for the Houston Rockets. And so now he's back home because he's a native of Atlanta with the Atlanta Hawks. And so I think that'll definitely be great to see as well. It would be, with us being in Atlanta, that'll be very, very, very interesting to see, what he definitely brings to the table. Because I think he is definitely a skilled ball player. So I look forward to watching those games and also watching Dwayne. Like I said, I think he made a good decision, obviously the best decision for him. So this next season will be very interesting.
Okay. All right, so that's the wrap up from Miss Diana and her sports wrap up. And this is the new, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Diana, from this.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the new, and I'm Mocha.
And I'm Diana Dove.
And let me tell y'all, if you have not heard of the show Power, which is on Starz, and is executive produced by 50 Cent, then y'all are missing out.
Yes. I mean, it's like a long movie.
Yes.
No commercials. You get a full hour of just a very, very entertaining and engaging show.
Yes.
So what we wanted to do was just kind of do a quick recap of season 1, right? Because we have season 3 starting tomorrow, Sunday, starting on Sunday the 17th. And so just want to do a quick recap of season 1.
Yes.
So we have James St. Patrick. He is a club owner of Truth. That's the name of the club. But he also has a nickname. In the streets, he's known as Ghost. And so he's actually, as they would say, at the top of the food chain. So you have Lobos, who provides his product, which is drugs. And then there next is Jamie and Tommy, or Ghost, as they call him on the street. So he's definitely at the very top. He's known as the New York distributor for Lobos. And so I know the first episode, the first episode of season 1, they show him opening his nightclub, which is a dream that he has always had because his dad owned a nightclub. And a little later on another night after he opened the club, it was another night that they had at the club is where he met his high school sweetheart, which is Angela Valdez, and she's played by Layla Lauren. And then, of course, we know James St. Patrick, or Ghost, is played by Omari Hardwick. And but he also has a wife and 3 kids. I'm sorry, because he has a little daughter, cute as she want to be, as well. And so another night, not long after the opening of his club Truth, he runs into Angela Valdez, his high school sweetheart. So that's one storyline that you have there. And so with that season, he ends up basically cheating on Tasha, his wife, which is Notori Naughton, and he is dating Angela Valdez. And towards the latter part of the season, he finds out that she is a attorney for the government. And he also finds out that she is trying to lock down Lobos, which is his boss and where his product comes from, and or the drugs, where the drugs come from. But also, in the process, she may be going after him and Tommy as well. Yes. So that's pretty much as far as one topic of the show for season 1. But there's also another topic for season 1, which is his street life.
Yes.
And so he's noticing that, they're seeing that there is someone who knows their route. They call them street soldiers, which are the people who actually deal the drugs. They call them street soldiers, but there's someone who really knows their route because they have been getting basically attacked on their route. And so they're trying to figure out who's doing it, and it's obviously someone, as they would say, on the inside, because they know exactly where the street soldiers are going to be at any given time.
Yes.
So that's pretty much the recap. And season 1 shows that it's actually Kanan who's behind all of the hits as far as his street soldiers getting attacked. Kanan is basically the one behind it. Now, Kanan was basically in Ghost's position previously. So I want to say 10 years prior to, because Kanan has been in jail for 10 years. But before he went to jail, Ghost and Tommy reported to Kanan. So now that Kanan went to jail, now Ghost and Tommy are at the top.
Okay. All right. And I also wanted to mention that the show's creator is Courtney Kemp, I think I pronounced her name, Agbo. She's the show creator, and she's also one of the lead producers. She was also a producer on The Good Wife, which just wrapped up their show a couple of weeks ago. That show had a very long run. I think it ran for like 7 seasons, and she was one of the producers on there. So now she's headlining her own show, and she's an African-American female, so more African-American girl power. And the show is brilliant. I mean, I know it's centered around drug dealing or whatever, so I'm not condoning that. But the way that the show is produced, the cinematography, and I'm telling you, if they have some of the scenes in there, like the murder scenes are in there, are like very graphic. So if you don't like graphic murder scenes, you may not want to watch. But watch. But watch anyway. And just close your eyes when that part comes on. And the sex scenes are very graphic. But watch.
Hence why it's on Starz.
Exactly.
And not regular cable.
Exactly.
Because you can't show that type of show on regular cable.
You cannot show that. But watch it anyway, because it's great. The cinematography is great. The music is great. And another thing that I like about the show is, you know, now the shows that we have now, they don't really have a theme song. You know, like back in the day, moving on up, and
you're
you had
right.
a theme song for
They go
every
straight
show.
to the show.
They go straight to the show. The theme song is also sung by 50 Cent, who is the executive producer, and he also plays Kanan, that Diana just spoke of, and he does the theme song. The theme song is great. The opening scene is great. The graphics are great. So can y'all understand what I'm trying to say here? That the show is just great. Please watch the show. Please watch the show.
But you know, one thing too that you mentioned, that it is centered around drugs, but the good thing is that Jamie is trying to get out
he's
of
trying
that
to get
life.
out of that business and go legit.
Exactly. So I think that that's definitely one positive of the show. And it does kind of give you a glimpse into the other lifestyle, that street lifestyle. To kind of see, you know, that mindset, what they think about, how they think about it, the relationships and the partnerships. So it is very, very interesting to see the other side of the coin, and that's the street life and selling drugs. But that's where Jamie kind of has the character Amari Hardwick plays, is he's kind of torn between well, in season 1 between Tasha and Angela, because Angela sees him. Well, one, she doesn't really know that he is the New York distributor for Lobos, even though that's the case that she's on.
Yeah.
And even then, she does have an inkling of a feeling, but she doesn't want to believe it.
Yeah.
And so, technically, for her, she doesn't know. But the part about Tasha that he doesn't like, and what he sees so much in Angela, is that Tasha wants him to continue to be the New York distributor, and he doesn't want that life.
She loves the lifestyle.
She loves the lifestyle, and he no longer wants that lifestyle, and so that's what is kind of pushing him towards Angela. So in the beginning of season 1, he is kind of torn between the two, but as season 1 kind of goes on, and then into season 2, which we'll talk about soon, he's with Angela.
Yes.
That's who he wants to be with. That's who he sees him spending, the rest of his life with, is with Angela, his high school sweetheart.
Yeah.
And so, it is definitely centered around the street life and drugs. But the great thing about it is that he's trying to get out of that lifestyle. And as we can see, it's very tough for him to get out of that lifestyle, because he's been doing it his entire life. And there are his closest people to him, Tasha and Tommy, they're pressuring him to stay in the game. So it's one particular scene where they are in Jamie's office at home, and he's talking to Tommy, and he was telling Tommy that, hey, this nightclub, because they basically opened the nightclub to, as they say, clean the money, so that they can show the government that they have legitimate businesses for all this money that they have or encompass. And so Tommy basically reminds him, hey, we opened up this club to clean the money. And Jamie is trying to get him to understand, like, this could be our retirement plan. We could be club owners, this club and then multiple clubs going forward. But Tommy isn't trying to hear that. Tommy loves the street life. He wants to continue to do the street life. He feels like that's what he's good at, and that's what he wants to do. And Jamie, just kind of shakes his head like, no, I'm tired of having to look over my shoulder and having to worry about my family and protect my family. I want to be 100% legit.
Yes.
So,
another thing I like about the show is it's I guess a mixed show. You have like
very diverse.
It's very, very diverse. You have African Americans, you have Latinos. One of the characters in the show is played by Luis Antonio Ramos, who's been he's been acting for a long time. He's been in a lot of different roles, and he plays one of the drug dealers there. And there was an attempt on his life. Remember the lady with the pink shoes?
Oh yes,
pink shoes.
Yep. That's who they were looking for at the end of the season when she tried to shoot ghosts.
She wore these pink tennis shoes.
They're
all
looking
time.
for her.
And Luis Antonio Ramos plays that role, and he's a great actor also, and he's great in that role. So you have Latinos, you have African Americans, you have white people, you have some guys who play, I think they're like Russian. Are they Russian?
Yes.
I think the Russians.
Yep.
So it's like very diverse. So you're some people who may not want to just watch a show. This is just, just like a black show or something like that. The show is very diverse. So you're going to get a little bit of everything. And like I said, the show is very graphic, but in my opinion, they don't show like gratuitous sex and gratuitous violence just for the sake of. In the story that they're telling, basically all of the scenes and whatever pretty much go with the story. So it's not like they're just trying to throw sex and violence out there at you to, just to get you to watch. But it actually goes with the storyline. And I really don't see them doing the show without it. So that's exactly why it could not come on, basic television.
And with the show also being so diverse, I'm kind of refreshing my Spanish skills because they do talk Spanish on the show, and they'll show the subscript under it so that you can truly understand what they're saying. But I'm kind of brushing up on my Spanish skills when I watch it. So that's also a plus of watching the show too. But we will take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Hello, welcome back to the new. I'm Mocha.
And I'm Diana Dove.
And in our previous segment, we were kind of introducing the people who are unfortunate enough not to have seen Power. It comes on tomorrow. And the previous seasons, 1 and 2, they were coming on Saturday. So tomorrow it will be coming on Sunday. And so now we're going to give you kind of the breakdown from season 2 and what we're expecting for season 3, or what it's supposed to happen on season 3, according to the premieres that we've seen so far.
So we know with season 1, it ended with the girl with the pink shoes.
Yes.
She's known by these pink shoes. And she's trying to kill Ghost. And we find out later in season 2 that she's trying to kill Ghost for Kanan. And so again, Kanan is that's the character that 50 Cent plays, and he is the person that Ghost and Tommy used to work for. But Ghost and Tasha, which is Jamie's wife, or Ghost's wife, Jamie and Ghost are the same person. They basically set him up to go to jail, and the reason why they set him up to go to jail was so Ghost said that Kanan really wasn't trying to think outside the box. He just wanted to stay in the street life, and he didn't see bigger and better things, similar to Tommy. And so, because Jamie wanted to go legit before Kanan went to jail, but since Kanan, that wasn't something he was trying to hear, he wanted to just continue to do the street life, he didn't want to go legit, Ghost and Tasha set up a plan to send him to jail. And so that made Ghost and Tommy now the New York distributor for Lobos, because they were pretty much next in line, and they took over Kanan's spot. And so Kanan is in jail. He's working with the girl with the pink shoes who's putting out the hits on all of Jamie's or Ghost's street soldiers. And so Ghost goes down to Miami because he finds out that the person who's doing the hits are in Miami. So he goes down to Miami to try to kill her. But before he can kill her, Kanan sends someone else that he was in jail with, but obviously now is released, along with himself, who's released, sends that person down to Miami instead, and he gets to her first. And so, and in season 2, Kanan basically told Ghost that it was someone else who was putting the hits out on his street soldiers. But in Miami, his name was, his street name was Rolla. And so when the girl is dying in Miami because she gets killed by Kanan's person, and he runs away, but then right after, Jamie comes up and he's asking her, who sent you? Who sent you? Who's having you do, who's having you trying to kill me and trying to put a hit on our soldiers, our street soldiers? And he said, is it Rolla? Was it Rolla? And she says, no, it wasn't Rolla. So then that really has his mind going, because he's like, well, Kanan told me it was Rolla, or it alluded to the fact that it could have been Rolla. And so now he's like, well, who's really behind the hits? So come to find out, he realizes that Kanan is behind the hits. He's trying to get him back for him and Tasha, Jamie and Tasha sending him off to jail. And then the latter part of the season, Lobos ends up going to jail. So they catch Lobos, but when they catch Lobos, Tommy is also in the room with him. So Tommy ends up going to jail too. Jamie worked it out where he basically led Angela to Lobos because she put a tracker on his phone. And so he knew that Lobos was going to get caught. He knew Tommy was going to get caught because he was going to be in the same room. So Jamie made sure he wasn't in that same hotel room with them when they went off to jail. But like a good friend that Ghost is, he got Tommy out of jail. He had some evidence against Angela that he was able to use so that they wouldn't really trust her credibility. And so he was able to give that information to Tommy's lawyer so that he could get Tommy out of jail.
Yes. Now, one other character that we did not mention, his name is Senqua Walls, who plays Sean. Sean is Kanan's son.
Yes. So this is another subplot.
Yes.
This show has multiple subplots.
It has multiple subplots. So while Kanan is in prison, Ghost and Tasha basically are being like surrogate parents to Sean, who is, like I said, Kanan's son. And he tries to keep him out of the life. He's working as his driver, his chauffeur. And he chauffeurs him around to all the different places. And he also chauffeurs Tasha around.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Tasha knows about Angela and Ghost. So she tries to get back at Ghost by knowing how close Sean is with him. So now she's coming on to Sean.
And Sean takes a general interest in her.
Yes.
He really, really
He
likes
does.
her.
He really does.
And to start off, Tasha was just basically using him and manipulating him for information
Exactly.
to find out about Ghost and Angela, because she knew Ghost was still dealing with Angela.
But when she finds out that he's actually interested in her, then she figures out like, okay, I can use this to my advantage. So she basically, I won't say she seduces Sean because he's a grown man. Very good looking grown man, I might add. He's a grown man, so it's not like she seduces him. He's a participant in it, and her and Sean ends up hooking up.
Because she ends up falling for him.
Yes.
So after she uses him, manipulates him, she ends up really catching feelings for
really
him
does.
because
She really does.
she knows that Ghost is still with Angela. And she actually directed him to continue to see her because he advised Tasha that Angela is trying to incarcerate Lobos and that, she may have to incarcerate Tommy as well. And of course, if Tommy gets incarcerated, there is a very good chance that Ghost or Jamie will get incarcerated too.
Now, Kanan also is aware that his son, Sean, is interested in Tasha and that him and Tasha are hooking up. And he also encourages Sean to like, hey, you can use this to your advantage also to try to help your old man out to try to get information on what's going on with Ghost. So basically, Sean is like pretending to work for his dad and get information about Ghost, but at the same time, he's falling for Tasha. So now he's confused now because he don't know if he should lie his loyalties with his dad, who has been locked away for 10 years, or if he should just go with Tasha, who he has feelings for. So he has this vision in his head that he and Tasha, which they do later on in the story, make plans to take the kids and just run off. And so now he's conflicted in, should I actually help my dad out, who missed out on a great part of my life growing up while I was with, Ghost and Tasha. And Kanan reminds him like, hey, he's not your dad. I'm your dad. So now he's confused as to whose loyalties he should be with. So that's another twist that they throw into the plot.
And Kanan also reminds Sean, which makes Sean want to do what Kanan wants him to do by reminding him that the reason why we lost 10 years together was because of your Uncle G, because he calls him, Sean calls Jamie Uncle G, Uncle Ghost. And so he tells Sean, you should take out Uncle Ghost because he robbed us of 10 years. Right. And so, of course, Sean is like, well, this is my real father. Oh, I did lose 10 years with him, or I did lose 10 years from him. And I'm going to go ahead and take out my Uncle G. And so, of course, he tries to do that. He fails. And Ghost basically tells him, this life isn't cut out for you as far as the street life, which Ghost has been trying to keep him away from that because Ghost knows what that life has to offer, which isn't much, and where it can lead to, and he didn't want Sean because he really looks at Sean like a son.
He does.
And so he tells Sean, just go away, get away from New York City because you are not cut out for this. And Sean was trying to be a part of the street atmosphere, but he wasn't. That's not how he was raised. He wasn't raised like that. And clearly he wasn't cut out for
No,
that.
he wasn't.
So he tells him to leave. And so what does Sean do? He goes back to Kanan, lets him know, I didn't kill him, and basically tells Kanan that you're trying to, you know, put me in something that I don't need to be in, and you haven't really been a good father because you're expecting me to kill somebody. And what does Kanan do?
He
shoots
kills
him.
his own son.
Yes.
He kills his own
I
son.
couldn't believe it. When I saw that, I was like, now I
no.
know Kanan is kind of cutthroat.
Yes. But, that
But to
shows
kill your own
Yes.
son because he didn't do what you asked him to do, or
Yes.
he's siding with someone else, I just thought that
Exactly.
was crazy.
And that shows
Crazy.
you just how crucial and just how crazy he is, and just how
Yeah.
he's willing to kill his own son
To get to the top.
to get to the top.
Yep. He wants to be back at that top
Yes.
spot on where he was the New York
Exactly.
distributor.
He was the man,
He's trying to get there by any means necessary, so he will kill whoever he needs to kill in order,
including his own son.
exactly, to get them out of their way.
Yes.
So, man, season 1 and 2 were definitely, as you can see, it was multiple plots. I know we were jumping around, but that's because the show kind of jumps
Yeah, it
around,
jumps
and,
around.
and
You
you
have to
have
follow it, yeah.
multiple plots going on. So Tasha's with Sean, just to give a quick recap. James is with Angela. Jamie is trying to get out of the street life, but in the midst of it, his best friend Tommy and his wife Tasha are trying to keep him in. Kanan is trying to go to the top, and he'll kill anybody who's in
own
his
son.
way, including his own
own
son
son.
and Jamie. And one other thing too was Lobos wants Jamie to be his sole
Yes, he
distributor.
does.
Well, Jamie kind of backs down from that, and so of course in this game, if you don't agree with whoever is over you, they want to remove you,
Yeah.
and the only way to remove you in their eyes is to kill you.
Yes.
And so now Lobos is in jail, and he's trying to get Tommy to kill James, and that's Jamie. Well, James is his full name, but nicknamed Jamie, and then his street name is Ghost. And that's kind of where we end off with season 2. So Tommy gets a phone call from Lobos saying, I need you to kill Jamie or Ghost, and if you don't, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill your girlfriend, and then I'm going to kill the dog, because it shows the dog in the part 2. So that's where we end off with season 2. Like I
Yes.
said, season 3, we know it's going to be even better. Definitely looking forward to it on Sunday, July 17th. Make sure you tune in, because we're going to recap season 3, episode 1 as well.
That's right. So make sure you watch our next show to get the update and the recap. So those of you who do not watch, we're going to give you the update, but try to catch up over the weekend. And this has been The New. I'm Mocha,
And I'm Diana Dove.
and we'll see you next time.